and welcome to post, whatever you want to call it, season, episode 1 of during the time when there's not really much football going on, other than shitty little internationals and stuff like that, and prepping for a World Cup that Italy aren't going to be in, Carl?
Where did that come out of? Like, I put the shirts back up. Like, I put them back up. I've no issue with that.
As ever, we'll run the intro anyway. But there's going to be slightly off piece tonight. We're just going to have a bit of a general chat now the dust's settled and we're prepping for another season in the Premier League. And we'll run that intro and have a bit more of a chat.
Hi, this is Don Matteo, and you are listening to the Ought to Know Better podcast. Let's do this.
Yeah, good evening. As I said already, we fuck Italy. We're gonna have a bit of a chat now the season's come to an end. Now the dust settled a bit, lads. How do we? We're probably taking this feeling for granted currently, but like we could have been feeling a lot worse, couldn't we? Right now, I mean, how do we all feel? Middle of the start of the summer and a couple of signings on board, and I don't know, Jay, you're going to a festival this weekend, I understand. How are you feeling? You must be happy.
Mate, I'm well happy. I went to Ibiza the day after we stayed up, didn't I? I was jumping around the hotel lobby, shouting, yes! Watching it on my iPad. People just looking at me like, what the fuck's going on over there? But I didn't care. That's probably the most relieved I've felt that I can ever remember, if I'm honest. It's right up there with getting promotion, is staying in the Premier League. And I was just, I was over the moon, mate. I just went out and got fucking wankered for a week after. It was great.
I compared the two feelings a couple of times with friends and that, who I was with in the pub watching it and that. And I'd arguably say it's a better feeling than when we got promoted, simply because of the timing of the promotion and that, and it being in the middle of the stadium's been empty, middle of lockdown and stuff. I just think there's a lot. I don't know. I know it's very similar. It's got to be very similar. Already Selenium's throwing in the digs. Rumor has it Jay went out to Spain as a
Bolton fan,
as a grape and came back as a prune. Is that right? Is that what a grape turns into when it's been sun dried?
Fuck knows, mate. I don't know.
A raisin.
What are
a
you
raisin. That's what it turns into. So I mean, what about you, Carl? Plenty of good topic of conversations around work and that about Leeds and that, and about Italy maybe. I don't know what's the.
Yeah, no, it's good. I'm delighted we stayed up. Like you were saying there, though, it's like it feels more like relief that we stayed up, and when we got promoted, it was like about fucking time, really. Like, so the two feelings were very, very, very different. And I would agree with G2 there, thinking that the relief of staying in the Premier League has definitely emotionally outweighed getting promoted. I think there just seemed to be a lot more riding on it, because we had those few games at the end of the season when we were promoted where it didn't really matter. But this was kind of down to the wire, and we just, actually won in London as well, which was great.
Yeah, exactly. It was quality. I mean, Jay, there's jokes about you paying for the extra leg room on the flight. I don't know where that came from, but
don't care, mate. I don't care. I had a good time. Keep it coming.
Gilly, you've just come back from a week or so, maybe two, I don't know, you have to correct me, but in somewhere in Spain. Got to see Pablo.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, stayed in Valencia, and Valencia's ace anyway. It's a great city. But there were a few of us took a couple of coaches up to Castellón to watch him play. and there were 100 or so that were already up there. I think there were a couple of hundred of us. Ended up at Papers and loads of their fans going, "What on earth were all that about?" We had some good crack with the away fans. So Castellón was safe when we got there. So we already knew that there were no relegation. It was kind of just an end of season. We'll just play this out. That'll be fine for Castellón. But the away team were fighting for survival. So there were a lot riding on it for them, whereas there weren't really for Castellón. But the away fans, I tweeted out from the pod account, where Leeds United, we don't need a drum. They did have a drum. So you've got to give them a bit, away some credit for that. But at the same time, it was decent crack. We were singing to them. We don't know what you're singing. We had no idea. They were having a go at us, calling us all sorts. We had no idea what that was. We were singing to them, "You're going down with the Burnley." They were all looking at each other like, "What the fuck's a Burnley?" it was all good fun. It was all good fun. Like I said, a couple of hundred of us. So there were quite a few of us in Irish bar before we went. The night before we went up, and then there was some goings on the day. We were in a little street food place beforehand. So we're in there, and there were Scarborough Whites and Morley Whites, and all shouting, chanting at each other. You could see that they'd been at away games with each other before, and they were giving each other a load of stick. And just all the way around it, I think it was just a brilliant trip. I'm glad we went, and obviously we got some more Pablo Tias. But he loves it, doesn't he?
Yeah. Any arrests or fatalities?
None of either that I'm aware of.
That's impressive.
None that I'm aware of. Yeah. I mean, there might well have been some. It wasn't. I thought it was going to be a bit more family oriented than it was, because there were some supporters clubs and supporters trusts involved, but there were none of that.
Wow.
We'd been drinking a good 6-7 hours by the time we got into the game.
That sounds it's like going to a home game.
Exactly, but it was that red hot that you don't really feel it, do you, when you're abroad? It's not the same. So you kind of get away with it. So
later on,
yeah.
How many fans do Castellón typically get, Gilly? Do you know?
Typically, they get a lot more than they had. So the rumours as to why their showing on the day was so low is that there's a takeover in the offing, and they're not happy about it. So if you think of Bates and Cellino and the way that fans made their feelings known in a couple of games, I think the end of season game they avoided on the principle that they didn't want that owner coming in and taking over. So I mean, it's all hearsay, it's all rumour though. Part owns, yeah. But so I think if you look at what Mar Garcia said, it's likely that he's going to be playing football next season, but it's not.
Oh,
we've lost Gilly.
Oh, it's
have I gone?
Yeah, you're back.
We've lost Mr. Tinterweb.
You're back.
No, I just shut up. I was done.
You know what Mar Garcia's put? End of story.
All right, no, I did cut off then. No, if you look at what Mar Garcia's put, it looks like he'll be playing football, but not the next season. He's not going to be retiring, because while we were there, actually the day before the game, the rumour came out that he was in Leeds taking up a training role. And we're like, oh, fuck up. There's no chance. We've just arrived in Valencia to come and watch him, and he's in fucking Leeds.
That would have been a kick in the storm.
200 of us go out there to see him, and he's in Leeds.
Someone definitely started that as a wind-up because they knew you were there.
Big time. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But no, so, the rumours were that he might have been getting lined up to take a training role, coaching role at Leeds. But Mar says that he's going to be playing. It's just unlikely he's going to be at Castellón.
And it's definitely not going to be at Leeds, I wouldn't imagine. But we can all hope.
Hey, hang on, that's interesting, Luke, that they're getting a new owner, because who's not getting a new owner? Derby fucking County.
Yes.
That's brilliant. I might even drink a tequila to that. I've got a bottle of tequila.
I'd have a beer to that one.
I've got a cider, but I'm going on to a pint of gin next. I mean, that it goes back to what you were saying about how we feel about last season, Luke. He's we wouldn't have been able to enjoy that Derby news if we'd have got relegated. It'd be awful. But exactly.
It'd have still been good news, but just the feeling, just the position that we're all in now has got to be. It's such a nice position to be in. And I know we've struggled all season, and we left it late, and and whatever else. But to be able to sit here now as still a Premier League podcast and talking about a Premier League club moving forward, it's just it just means so much more, doesn't it? And we all get the Premier League shit. The stadiums are shit. The fans are shit. But ultimately, the pinnacle of football is the Premier League. So you've got to get there, and you've got to stay there if you want to build and get a bit bigger. And we spoke to we had a number of guests this season just gone, or last season, whatever you want to look at. But one of my favourites was Kieran Maguire, who brought down the funding and the expectation. And if Leeds United do want to grow, no matter how much we like it or not, we've got to get more day trippers in, and whether that's in boxes or buying, millions of pounds worth extra merchandise and stuff. That's ultimately how teams grow. If we're happy being mid-table mediocrity and potentially pushing for the unlucky place in Europe, then yeah. But ultimately, if you watch that Kieran Maguire episode back, the Price of Football Leeds edition, you'll understand that actually these big clubs. That's why they are so big, because they've got this element of the financial element of things spot on and right. I'll hate it as much as you like, but ultimately that's the way football works nowadays. So sit tight, and we'll come on to money and money spent and things and everything in a little bit. Just want to tell you a little bit about what I've been up to since I've been away. I made it back from Nebworth in one piece. And
well done.
Yeah,
that's an achievement in itself.
It's a miracle.
Yeah, felt pretty bad about.
Got home.
Do you know what, mate? Honestly, I got out of Nebworth. I think the gig finished just before 11, and I got out of Nebworth, and literally I was waiting till 1:30 for a taxi back to Luton. It cost me 110 quid, 105 quid. But anyway,
whose shoulders you were sat on?
I don't know. He looked struggled, didn't he? He looked like he was regretting that.
What's left in him in that picture?
Yeah.
The first one is like, and then the last one is like,
struggling.
But yeah, it was also Tony Yeboah's birthday on Monday, so I got a message back off Tony saying, I don't know, have you managed to get I got a message. So the story goes. So the story goes, Tony Yeboah's birthday on Monday. I sent him a message saying, happy birthday. He messaged me back saying, thank you. I was like, made up. First time I've ever spoken to Tony Yeboah. I know, I'll ask him to come on the podcast. Sent him a real nice, cheesy message about how much we loved him over here and how much he was my favourite player. He ignored me. So I thought, right, I'm going for the jugular. Sent him the picture of me with my face painted when I was 9 years old. Still blanked me and blew me out. He's still totally blanked me.
Tony Yeboah has ghosted Luke. He's read it and he's gone, no.
Absolutely done me.
Cold as ice.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
But you never know. He might come back one day.
He
might be watching now and just drop me a message on Instagram saying, Luke, you know what? I was wrong about you. Probably not, right? But... yeah, let's have a couple of quick comments then. Let's fly through a couple from the start. Evening all. I hope he only paid the kids' fare for the flight. Evening all. Shut up, Luke. Can't talk about height. I'm only 5'3". Brendan.
That's taller than Jay, though, isn't it?
Even open. Who's kidnapped the real LUFC? That's going to be the main talking point tonight, Solanum. I think about the work that was already been going on. Evening, Bremners. More Leeds fans and locals. Emma's asked, Gilly.
Yeah, that would Casti on. Yeah, they were, but I think the locals stayed away. That's why.
Sounds like an immense trip. Evening, lads. Any rest of fatalities? Jay with the positive fucking outlook in life, as per
positive Jay.
Expected.
That's right.
Positive Jay.
Yes.
Let's all laugh at Derby. Yeah, ended up winning Pablo's Castellon signed frame top of football prizes. I'm well buzzing. Nice one, Lee. That's some prize.
Yeah.
Lee, that's class. Nice one, Lee. We've got a signed Clit shirt to raffle off when he's currently.
How's that going, Carl?
It's here.
Hey, that's a good point. Actually, we might as well, I think, start selling something. Private raffle. We'll do it from today. We'll do a silent raffle on the Click shirt. We'll tell everybody. We'll put a post out about it, and the highest bid takes it, and all the money's going to be donated to a charity or split between two charities. We've got the lilac shirt from this season. Third.
Oh, sorry, we have the white one.
It's lilac, isn't it?
No, your one is. The one we're giving away is white.
fucking, it's like a well-oiled machine. This. Isn't
I
it?
thought it was
Jesus
lilac, to be
Christ.
fair.
I thought it was
No.
lilac. Anyway,
I even said, which
go
one
get
will
it,
I
Carl.
get?
Go get it. Go get it now while we're here. Go on. Prove it.
It's 'cause
If it
he's
comes
Cellino.
back and it's
'Cause
lilac,
he's Cellino,
I'm going to
he's
kick
got
it
rid of
out.
it. He's got rid of the lilac. You don't like it.
Anyway, while he's doing that, we've got a shirt to give away. Well, giveaway. We say giveaway. We're gonna do a silent raffle and just see how much it makes. We all chipped in and bought it. You've got to click it to sign it. I think we're gonna do a private
Fucking
raffle
things
anyway.
I do for this podcast. Fucking hell.
There we go.
Hey, up is that Gail Platt?
Plastic
Massimo.
Oh, it's white. I told you it was white.
is. There it is.
Told you it was white.
So
yeah.
it will be framed as well. So I have the frame there. Do you want to
Carl's-
go and get the fucking frame as well, do you?
Yeah, Carl's looking after that. Carl
Yeah,
will
bring
sort
the
that
frame
out.
on, Carl. I want to see it.
Kiss my hole.
Class pick. Stats. Oh yeah, stats. We've got a quiz coming up soon. End of season quiz coming up with stats. We've not decided on a date yet for that,
Stats
but we have got that coming up. So yeah, I like how Stats and Smarty couldn't get involved tonight, but they're commenting more than anybody
Yeah,
else.
they're in comments.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Handles.
right. Let's get on to all things un-Leedsy about Leeds that have been going on since the end of the season. Then, so obviously we've made two confirmed signings. We'll talk about the first one first because it was premeditated. I think, should we stay in the Premier League, that this was going to happen. Brendan Aronson, watched him a couple of times for the US of A since he signed, and yeah, I'll come to you guys first. Has any of you watched anything other than the highlights, or have you watched any of the games?
I've only seen that goal that he scored when Pulisic did all that work to get into the box and get past them two guys and set him up. But I like the fact that he just sort of appeared out of nowhere. There he was, banged it in. We've lacked
Lee
that.
Bowyer-esque. That was Bowyer-esque, wasn't it? How he floated into the box.
Very
That's
much,
it.
yeah.
Not
That's
first
it.
person to say it.
But I mean, I'm surprised actually because like I and a lot of people on Twitter after the January attempt at getting him didn't think that this would happen. A lot of people seem to think, oh well, he's gone now. Somebody else will sign him, and that seemed to be a bit of a thing that we're going around. And so for us to sort of, as soon as the season ends, say, oh, he's signed, got him sorted. I was shocked at that actually.
Do
Pleasantly shocked.
you think that's just because of the fact that we all fell in love with Rodrigo de Paul and missed him in the only window that we're actually in for him, and then we all just hoped for the next two transfer windows that we were going to sign him without any.
Didn't we even mention Messi in that window? And being relatively serious.
No, that's was that the same one? That's
We
when
did.
they were over signing Rodrigo, so it might have been, yeah.
I think my drunken.
They did have the conversation while they were in Spain signing Rodrigo. They had a conversation about whether they were going to move for Messi.
I think I might have drunkenly put it in the group chat at some point when that was going about. So you don't have to sign him, nothing, no fee or anything. Just give him wages to cover the fucking signing on fee. It's sound.
It was
It
It was one of those things. Well, we know he loves Bielsa, so just go get him.
That was it. Like that was my point exactly. It was like he loves Bielsa. He'd play for Bielsa. It's like, anyway.
Oh well,
Yeah,
we'll get
anyway.
more players that have played for Jesse now instead.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's nice to see that Rads and Co are backing the manager. These are clearly the manager's signings rather than Orta's. I think they've probably worked together quite tightly in both of these. I mean, from what it looks like to me, is Bielsa was going to be going at the end of this season, regardless of what happened earlier on in the season before we brought Jesse Marsh in. And I think these signings have been, as I say, premeditated, lined up as sort of number one targets, if you were, like Dan James was number one target for Bielsa. I have a feeling that these two and potentially one or two more were part of the deal to get Jesse Marsh in, and these are the signings. These are the caliber of candidate that I want to be looking at for my squad. Worked with them before, but I think it's just worth noting how un-Leedsy it is. It's just like, before the when's the transfer window open? It's not open yet, is it? Is it end of this month?
1st of July, isn't it?
1st of July it opens.
I thought it was
it's before that. I'm sure it is. I think is it that the I think the transfer window and the fixtures for next season coming out are on the 9th and the 16th, and I can't remember which way around it is.
Stats
but
on
I think
those.
it's earlier than
Stats tell
will
us.
know, yeah.
But even still, even two starters, two first team starters that will be pushing first teams and starting every week in, week out, providing fitness and things. To get those two in 9th of June, Johnny Regan's told us. So that's tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mark Robinson believes it's Friday. Who really knows? Who wants some?
Here's a quick question for you guys. Because we've gone for Aronson after Bielsa's gone, so he's clearly either a Jesse or a club signing. Do you think that move in January made any contribution to the relationship breakdown between Leeds and Bielsa?
As in trying to sign Aronson?
Yeah, because he's clearly not his player.
I don't think
potentially.
So.
I don't know.
If Bielsa wanted to walk, he would have walked. It took him. He loved Leeds, didn't he? And
he did.
I don't think them going after a particular player would have changed that. I don't honestly believe that. No, I don't think that's had any impact at all.
Fair enough.
In my opinion, I mean, it may well have done, but you saw how upset
he just pissed on your chips, then, didn't he, Jay? He just basically told you to fuck off. In other words,
yeah,
then.
A little bit. No, I'm not sure. I just thought it was an interesting question to ask, to be honest.
Shite when you ask a question, Jay, and that happens, isn't it?
It's terrible.
It's even worse.
Michael's saying it's 16th. I was telling you I couldn't remember. I fixed the 16th. Yeah, so I said 9th and 16th. So I'm having that. That'll do.
It's even worse, Carl, when you have to book a week off to ask a question.
No.
And all you get is a one-word response.
Yeah. What a pain in the hole that is.
What a pain in the hole that is.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Aronson. I stayed up one night. I can't remember who they played. It was the one where he scored.
It was against Morocco, was it?
Morocco,
it was Morocco,
correct. Yeah. It was Morocco. And I watched that, and I watched it. I think he went off in the 72nd or something minute, and I was really, really impressed with his work rate for such a young kid, but how he gets stuck in and that as well. He was very, and I hate to use the comparison because he was such a legend for Leeds, but very, very Bowyer-esque he was, not scared to get foot in. He was committed. He looked relatively lightweight on the pitch, which I'm sure he'll probably maybe grow up and maybe get a little bit more sort of comfortable on how he positions himself. He sort of seemed to go the long way around some challenges and things like that. But other than that, he was committed. He was energetic, and he just seemed to be there all the time. How he popped up for that goal, albeit Pulisic made it, but how he just popped up out of nowhere for that, took it well on his left peg. I think we've got an exciting player coming into the team there. I just hope we strengthen well enough around him to give him the opportunity to shine and be a good player for us, rather than sticking him in a hole and expecting him to do it all like we've done potentially with Rodrigo this season. But no, it'd be nice to have somebody who actually plays that position. Where do we see him starting then for us? 10 or 8?
I think the 10.
10, I think.
I don't. I think 8 because I think Rodrigo plays.
Probably.
Does Rodrigo benefit from having a proper 8 at the side of him?
I think so. I really do think so. And I think if you've got Bamford in front of him and you've got Aronson alongside him, both making intelligent runs, and it looks like Aronson makes those runs, I think that really will. So if you look at Dan James playing up front, he don't make the runs. He works hard. I think we've all appreciated the fact that, again, he's not scared of a challenge. He'll put himself in, and that's how he's turned a lot of people's opinions on him. He was coming in, he's a little scummer and he's too expensive. And then we're thinking, actually, he puts himself about, he works hard. And actually, as Leeds fans, that's what I want to see. He's not scared either. And I think, but he doesn't make the intelligent runs that a striker that's been coached to be a striker for the last 10 years, whatever it is, actually does. So having Bamford back and then having Aronson making those runs beyond Rodrigo, I think really will help him.
Yeah, you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that.
Yeah.
I still think he'd do well in the 10. Like, take Rodrigo out.
Absolutely.
I still think he'd do very well in a 10. Like,
but that's a good option, though, isn't it?
Good to have options that are not Tyler Roberts.
Yeah, but let's be honest, Tyler Roberts could be going to a World Cup.
Yeah, well, Ali Dyer played in the Premier League.
I tell you, who isn't Italy?
Invented a game you can't even win. It's all right.
At least we've got a chance to this year.
Yeah.
You got to be in it to win it, Carl.
You do, yeah, exactly. You have to be in it to win it. It's all right.
So I mean, Aronson. First thoughts. Obviously, he's going to sign. We think he's going to be playing between the 8 and 10, probably. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you about him then, Carl?
I'm very excited after watching all the YouTube stuff. But at the same time as well, though, I managed to get like the last 20 minutes of the game after the Morocco game, and I can't remember who that was.
Uruguay, was it?
Was it? But he only came on with about, I think it was the second half he came on, like, and apparently he ran the game quite well. Like, I only saw the last 15 or 20 minutes. What?
Hang on. I've blocked that user. It's fine. Carry on.
We've made it. We're getting porn spam.
Way.
Don't worry, the band now.
Sound. I thought he looked really good. To liken him to Bowyer is putting a lot of pressure on him. Consider how good Bowyer was, like, you know, and
appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I get that as well, and I do think he has a lot of those qualities. I think the reason he puts himself about quite aggressively is that he's quite, like you said, Luke, he's quite lightweight. So you find with lightweight players, they tend to put themselves in more because they don't want opposition players to think that they can be bullied, you know. So, like you were saying, he's gone around the wrong way to do a tackle or whatever, but he's been aggressive about it in a controlled manner. Maybe if he, like you said, if he just learns to position himself correctly, then those aggressive challenges could turn into something a lot more, which could benefit the side going forward.
He won the ball. Just burp away and go straight through him.
10 seconds after coming on.
But didn't...
Do you think that's why Dan James wants to kill everyone, Carl?
Pardon?
Do you think that's why Dan James wants to kill everyone?
Why?
So
because he's small.
Yeah.
No, that's different. He's quite stocky. Yeah. He's quite stocky, you see. He's well able. So, but yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to seeing what Aronson can do. Like, just be interesting to see what formations we start playing now, because we saw Jesse kind of adapt in the last game of the season to go with wide players as well. So, with the different options that we have, maybe he might choose to go with a bit of width. You know, you've got the creativeness of Aronson coming in, and if it works with Rodrigo, like Ilya was saying, then I don't see how it can't be fruitful. Like, just get settled in fairly quickly and hope for the best, I think.
Yeah, fair point. Fair point.
So,
I think.
Just a point that's been made in the chat. So Alison and Marty with us again. We still need a goalkeeper, a left back, a centre mid, and a striker.
Mm-hmm.
I think in terms of the goalkeeper, I think with it, Randolph that we were in for on loan in January, I think it came out as after the fact. So I do suspect they'll be looking for somebody with a bit of experience, as we've talked about in the past. A striker, I think we're linked with. The Castellanos, the Argentinian that's playing in America. They were over there having a look at. That's who we're linked with, at least. There's a couple of others that we've been linked with.
I was just going to mention that. Sorry, Albert Ellis from Bordeaux.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about it?
And there's another Salzburg as well, isn't there? Begins with an A. I can't remember what it is. A day or whatever his name is.
Young lad.
The young lad.
So we're linked there as well. I genuinely do not see, and this might be to chagrin to not a lot of fans, I do not see us signing a left back. I really do not see us signing a left back.
I don't.
We've just spent money on a first team left back, and whether you rate him or not, nobody else is going to come in and sign him. So we're not going to let him go because we'll lose money on him, and we're not going to sign anybody else while we've got a first team left back. I don't see it.
I think you're spot on.
I think the same.
More interesting what's going to happen at right back, really, whether Drammy comes back or not.
Well, even if he does, I mean, we've announced now, haven't we?
We've two first choice right backs.
He certainly can't turn up demanding to play every game. So
just on the right back situation, before we start coming on to Christensen, or whatever he's called.
Not me this week. Way.
We've obviously
Oh,
got.
God.
Oh, for
Bot's
sake.
What's
I've
going
got
on
it. It's
here?
all right.
See if they've got any discount codes.
Ask if they want to sponsor us.
Yeah.
Oh, we're back
Jesus
again.
Christ.
We've been raided.
Brilliant. Oh my goodness.
Class.
I can still see it. Anyway, just on the centre backs situation, right backs sort of defence situation. Where do we see Luke Ayling's now no longer first choice right back? Surely we've not signed a
Can't
right back
be.
for.
It depends on. Sorry. Go on.
Does that then? Would that then suggest that Luke Ayling now is a floating, utility defender?
Would you say over the hill? Would you?
The new
I
Berardi.
wasn't going to say that. Absolutely didn't say that.
No, just, would you? Perhaps.
he's obviously serious injury. We've signed a first choice right back, which is his natural position. He's obviously of an age where he's got experience, there's no denying that he's committed to the club and what he's done for us, and scored some important goals, made some great challenges. I'll be forever grateful. But the realism is that he probably wasn't going to be, if we were signing Christensen, that he's going to be the first choice right back. It's just, you don't spend 10 million quid on a Danish international for him to come and sit on the bench. Is my argument, I suppose.
So just to counter that, we needed one because Bill's injured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's going to be
so
injured.
Would you spend 10 million on a backup if you've got Cody Drama coming back from loan?
Well,
let's be honest.
10 million on the backup is what we're going to do with Lewis O'Brien if we sign him. He's going to be a fifth choice centre mid. So we are linked with him. So he's the operation that he's had is going to carry him into the season, and then he's got to get back fit, and then he's got to get match fit. Somebody said there, Matt Rollinson said, can't see Bill being fit this side at World Cup, and I think that's spot on. So you're half a season without your first choice right back. So going out and signing one is absolutely the right thing. No, but he was. But that's what I mean is coming into the season, if you don't make a signing, you don't have a first choice right back.
But it's also arguably it'd have to be one of the positions we'd have to strengthen anyway, because I think that was one of our weakest. Defensively across the board, but right back arguably, other than our midfield as a centre forward in depth. Centre forward in depth. I would argue that right back was probably one of the weakest positions that we'd not. Well, we hadn't strengthened for however long. Since we signed Bill, probably was probably the last time we signed a right back. We look at the players we've had playing there before, and Scott Wootton and other players.
Right.
Dario Del Fabro, do you remember him?
Yeah.
One of the signals.
Cameron Borthwick Jackson, a right back.
22 minutes.
I think we played him at left, yeah. But the thing about Christensen is he can play left and right.
Yeah, that's another shout.
So it's good. It's good to have in the squad anyway.
And now Ayling's the new Berardi.
Yeah. Well, I just think that the when we signed Christensen and with knowing that Bamford was going to be out, we couldn't throw Cody Drama, no matter how well he played in the championship last season in the second half of the season, we couldn't have put him in there as first choice right back.
No way.
We couldn't. And that's why we had to sign Christensen. Because now, at the moment, Drama, if he doesn't stamp his feet...
I would talk about that. Is it just because Bamford was injured for most of the season? Is that your point?
What are you talking about Bamford,
Because you mentioned him.
Did I say Bamford? I said Christensen. I meant Drama. Did I? What?
No, you said Drama, and you said
you
said Christensen. You never mentioned Ayling, and then you said Bamford.
Oh, did I say Bamford? Did I? Jesus Christ! I'm sitting here trying to get a code for that fucking sex chat.
Gillett keeps blocking him before you can get it.
No,
but my point
keeps putting him in timeout, but that means they come back after 5 minutes.
Yeah, but blocking them's not getting rid of the stuff.
But anyway, right? I think that's why we signed Christensen, because we can't throw Drama in at right back. straight away. He can't be a first choice right back waiting for Ayling to come back, because then if you don't sign a right back, you've got the likes of Cock that'll play out there, but he's not a first choice, and then you're looking at the kids then after that, like, you know what I mean? So the logic behind signing him was very, very on point, I think myself, like, but that's just my opinion, I guess.
Back in 4 minutes, lads.
Eh?
Yeah.
You get that code, did you?
Jesus. It's a professional operation, they said it.
No, completely get where you're coming from, and completely, but both sides of your argument, apart from the Bamford bit, which I fucking totally threw me, if I'm honest. But
threw me then as well. I don't remember.
Yeah, Gilly. Yeah, I think you're right. If you you got your first choice right back, there's no way you can be relying on Cody Drammer to play the first half of the season up until the World Cup. This lad looks the part from what I've seen. I've not seen him. I watched a little bit of the game last night. Did they play? Was it the night before? Anyway, the night they played against whoever it was, Austria. I think they played Austria.
The hell of a recap, this.
I
watched you play against someone.
A hell of a recap, this.
I watched him play against somebody once. And he looked all right. Yeah, look, he got an assist in here, and I've watched his YouTube videos. He's good with his left hand, his right peg. So look, I think Lee Wakefield just hit the hammer on the fucking nose or whatever he said.
Fucking hell, man.
Yeah, we're getting round pegs for round goals.
Can't speak.
Is that in line with what we've been getting spammed with, or is it more football terms?
But yeah, ultimately, what we're getting, we're not. The expectation isn't going to be that we're going to be playing a right back in the centre of midfield, or we're not going to be playing a striker in central midfield, and vice versa. We're strengthening positions that need to be strengthened, but with players that actually play that position. And I think it's nice to see, and it's a nice position to be in as a Leeds fan, to go into the season where we're actually strengthening those positions. The next thing I want to come on to is outgoings, because
Helder Costa.
It's going to be. There's no doubt about it that we're going to be seeing I would say at least one of our favoured players leaving this summer, for me, in my opinion. Let's start fuck off let's have a bit of a chat about who we think is going and why we'd prefer that one over the other one if we had to. So I'll start with you, Jay. We know what we're talking about. We've seen potential bids coming from potential clubs. We've seen Barcelona not be able to afford a Leeds player, which is nice. And which of the two would you keep? Would you keep if you could only keep one, and why, Jay?
What, out of Phillips and Raf? It'd have to be Phillips, wouldn't it? Just because he's like the heart of the club. I'd miss Raf massively. He's probably the best player we've seen since the last time we were in the Premier League at Leeds. But yeah, Phillips is more important to me. It means more to me as a player and a Leeds lad, and he's like the face of the club, in here, and I'd be gutted. I'd be absolutely gutted to see him go.
Yeah. So, anybody else? Gilly, who do you think we're going to keep hold of? Who of the two, if any, and how and why do you think we'll keep hold of them? Gilly, still.
Gilly.
Well, I think if Calvin's torn his quads and he's going to be injured for the start of the season, he'll stay.
Is that what's come out?
No.
No,
I've seen no news on it, and that's worrying me even more.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Look at Carl, he's having an aneurysm here.
Yeah.
Sorry, Carl.
I've
I've seen no news on it, which is worrying me.
Oh, Jesus.
No news is good news,
but
mate.
yeah, I mean, I think that, especially going to a club like Barca that's in the mud, Rafinha going there is really putting his World Cup spot at risk. going to a club like that? It's I don't know. I really I'm a bit. I'm not sure. There's very clear signs coming that City are seriously interested in Phillips that have come out over the past couple of days. Again, I don't think that he starts many games. If you look at what's happened with Grealish, you spent £100 million on him and hardly started him. Certainly in the first half of the season. But equally, if you look at the midfield that they've got, I mean, it's dynamite already without him.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that they'd really have to outline the fact that he's going to be starting pretty much every game between now and the World Cup. And is City going to do that? Equally,
Grealish still gets in the England squad.
He gets in the squad, but he's not been starting.
No, I am.
Yeah.
Even though he's probably arguably the best player when he fucking does come on there, like the other night, and Jared Bowen.
Yeah, you said it.
Saka's absolute dog shit.
I mean, for me, it's Foden, but Foden's not available, is he? And you would tend to turn to Grealish without Foden there for some creativity. I start Foden over Grealish, to be fair, but yeah, I mean, and when Grealish came on, by all accounts, because Calvin got injured, so I turned it off. We look better.
Yeah, I think for me it'd have to be keeping Phillips. I agree a lot with what Jay said. And the way Rads was going on, he said he wanted to go down the whole Leicester route. But first he wanted to go down the Wolves route. So he needs to make up his fucking mind what route he's going down. And
just wants to go down whichever route's going to give him maximum profit.
Yeah, but if he wants to go down the Leicester route, then we need to start looking for players like Raf for the bracket that we got Raf in, and build that way. And I think Raf's a player that won't impact. I know he obviously this season was a mad season, and he was key to us staying up. Really, if we're all honest, but I think there's players out there and players in the squad that can potentially replace him. Maybe play Dan James in his natural position. Might work.
I think that's a bit out there.
Yeah, as in out wide on the wing. Yeah, I think it's a bit out there.
It's where he should be.
Yeah, but that's.
But Mark's made an interesting point there that I've just put up. Does Raf fit the way they will be playing next season? If we're not going to be looking to play with width. Now,
to be fair, Gilly, we didn't this season, and he still fucking saved us enough times.
Well, we did play with width early in the season. We didn't
sorry, but I'm on
a
about
couple of games, and we looked
March,
terrible. And then we did play with a bit of width towards the end. But if he wants to bring in the personnel that's going to set up, that's going to allow success in the way that he wants us to set up, is that going to be the penis formation? And is Rafinha going to be surplus to requirements because we're not going to be playing with width?
See, I think Jesse Marsh played his hand with what he had. I think he'll be far more adaptable this coming season, having had a full summer. To work on different styles and shapes and pressing and whatever else. I just think we saw the best of a bad situation with Jesse Marsh in that squad that he inherited. Just he didn't have any input in, and it was just a difficult situation for him. Anyway, go on, Carl.
Oh, sorry, just about players that fit. I was watching that brief interview with Popey on Twitter today when Christensen signed, and he said he's a player that likes to suit Marsh's system where he bombs forward. He said he likes to get forward a lot. Now, we didn't see our fullbacks getting forward an awful lot under Marsh when he first came in. So maybe Marsh has certain formations up his sleeve where if he has the right players, like Christensen knows his style, Aronson knows his style, he's played with him, he's American. Maybe I've criticised Marsh's penis formation quite a lot. But maybe
I think we'll be pleasantly surprised. I think we're in for a bit of a shock. I do.
Something different, yeah.
Do you think he's going to use inverted wing backs rather than traditional wing backs? Where they come inside and go forward.
I mean, I'd rather have inverted wing backs than have overlapping centre backs. And a ham sandwich as a coach. So we'll see.
It's interesting. It's interesting looking at the comments that had just been flying in since I asked that question. The majority of people are saying keep hold of Raf. I am quite surprised by that. And yeah, I mean, we're all entitled to our own individual opinion. I just think Calvin Phillips brings so much more to the squad. I completely agree. Raf can win a game all on his own. But I think for the longevity and in terms of what we need moving forward, and if I was to lose one of the two, I would think I would rather lose Rafinha at this stage. Suggesting they were both fit and everything else, I just think Calvin brings more of a is more of a cog in the middle of an engine than I don't know what can I use for this simile? A fucking tail lift on the back of a car that makes you go faster. Tail lift? That's a fucking Luton van.
Yeah, that doesn't make you go faster. Fucking hell, man.
What the fuck is that?
What is going
on? Anyway, yeah. So that's
coming from Mar. Marsh says he needs to bring players in. He certainly won't trust Ayling, Cooper, Dallas, Click, and Forshaw. Absolutely, 100% disagree with the Cooper bit there. I think he will trust Cooper, and I think he'll stay with him. And unless we sign a centre back, I think he'll be his first choice.
I think he'll trust every single one of those players.
I think he would trust every single one of those players. To be fair,
squad players. I don't see any one of those starting next season other than Cooper. But I think the rest of them have got a big job to play in terms of taking the team forward, in terms of leadership and camaraderie and a real unity and that's what we lost last. I've had countless arguments about this. We lost that last season. We lost Berardi, Alioski, Hernandez, Douglas, and one other, and I can't. Maybe Kiko. But we lost 5 senior players that would arguably have been playing first team in the championship, and we let them all go at once, and we really struggled because of it. We had no natural leaders. Well, we had our natural leaders, but half of them were fucking injured. So when we were relying on players coming in, we were relying on players that had absolutely no experience, and nothing against the players that came in. They did a job, but when you're lacking when you're lacking leadership, and you need somebody to tell you what to do on a pitch, it's really difficult to look outside you and see Crescencio, Somerville, or Joffe even, and the players that are absolutely outstanding players, but you sometimes just need that somebody who's going to calm it down and slow the pace down a bit, and just get everyone a little bit more cool, calm, and collected. And we missed that in parts last season. We almost looked like that we're rushing things, and some of the short passing and basic football stuff last season that we saw was fucking atrocious. So yeah, I think we'll see something a little bit better next season. Just in a couple of.
Sorry.
Go on, Carl, again. If you want to interrupt me again, you twat.
I was just going I don't know when you're going to end a conversation about something, and I don't want to interrupt you when you're in the middle of it. So I'll interrupt you before you go on to the next bit. How's that? I'll be honest with you. Would you the way the bench was this year, and you touched on it as well, Luke? I'd rather see a bench full of those players than a bench full of fucking kids. And remember, we get 5 subs next year in the Premier League.
I'd like a happy medium, because we've clearly got quality in our youth system. We've clearly got the quality. But what I don't want to happen is I don't want our youth setups to suffer because of it. They've been relegated this season. And ultimately, that team, had we had a full squad all season, we probably wouldn't have seen as much of Joffe, of Bate, of Cresswell, and everybody else, Hjelde, even Stroik within reason, and other players that potentially would have propped that 23 side up a little bit more. Now, they wouldn't
have been relegated if the first team hadn't struggled as much as they did, would they? I mean, I think that's the point you're making, is because we were missing so many players that were promoted into the first team, and that really harmed the under-23s. That's why they've been relegated. They didn't have the players available because the first team didn't have their players available.
Yeah, and ultimately we had a team of our 23s on the bench.
Sorry, Jay, we're keeping you awake.
I'm knackered, mate. I'm struggling.
It's them dodgy burgers he had earlier on.
I mean, here's a point, and I think we covered this previously. You Cooper, and for me, Llorente alongside him is my first choice centre back pairing. You've got Cock and Struijk that are perfectly capable of coming in. You've also got Cresswell and Helder that can come in and do that job. I think either Cresswell or Helder, potentially both of them, need to go out on loan. They need to be playing football, proper football against proper sides.
I don't think Helder will. I think he's our backup left back this season.
But what I'm saying is one of them's got to go out on loan because otherwise they're both getting no football. I think Cresswell's going to be a big player for us. And I think that in the fullness of time, if they develop in the way that they've got the potential to, I think Cresswell and Struijk will be a dynamite centre-back pairing together. But they're not getting real minutes. Cresswell and Helder, unless there's a lot of injuries, are not getting real minutes this season in Leeds. They're just not.
No, you're right. I think
there's minutes. Got to play.
In terms of, yeah, I think you're right. But in terms of, do we see any? In terms of outgoings, then let's start from the back. Do we see any of those defenders being sold? I can't see anybody coming in to sign Koch and Llorente after the seasons they've had. Struijk might perk some ears and eyes, but I don't think we'd sell him. So yeah, I think you're quite right. These young centre backs that have proven are good enough probably should be looking at loan moves. I don't think we let Helder go because I think he's probably our backup left back. If because I heard today that Leif Davis is going somewhere and I can't remember where.
Been sold.
I think been sold. I could be wrong, and I can't remember where I read it. But so that would be Helder then as a backup left back. I would anticipate. In terms of players that we'd like to see moved on in terms of a loan or even sold, then let's all pick a couple each in terms of returning players from loan or players that just aren't doing it for us anymore. Then where would you start then with that, Gilly?
I mean, for me, you look at Poveda and where he's been. He'd been at City, had been moved on. Before that, he'd been at Barca, he'd been moved on. It looks like there's a quality player there. I think he got injured at Blackburn and it curtailed his season. But we moved him on after he'd put in. I remember back against the game against, I think it was City that he played against really well. And not long after that, he was then pushed out on loan. And I'm not certain he's got a future with us either. And I don't know if that's a mentality thing. But it also there were some videos of him in close season last season where he was having a very enjoyable time. So I think Poveda will move on. There's a talent there, but there's been lots of talented players that haven't made it because of the mentality. Costa, Marsh has said he's going to have a look at. Fine, have a look at him because he's an asset that the club own. So fine, have a look at him, but I don't think he's going to see anything there. So I really don't see him.
You mean Valencia are snapping him up then? They're not taking the option to buy him?
Don't think so. One assist in 28 appearances, I think it was.
I think they wish they'd never laid eyes on him. A bit like us.
But they got a better deal out of that than Barca got out of Adama. Well, no, actually, I think Barca took Adama with no loan fee and only paid about 30% of his wages. So in terms of a deal, actually, they got the better side of that. They couldn't afford anything.
Wolves get out of that.
Wolves got the fact that it were a loan with a view to potentially buying him.
Fucking hell.
So did Barca not buy him? Like,
no.
They can't buy anyone, can they?
I didn't think that
That's
it's
for Raf, isn't it?
Well, they're having to have weddings now on pitch, aren't they? Let's try and raise some cash.
Yeah, they literally are.
Any Barca fans, give us a shout there, yeah.
So if we're only looking to pick a couple up, my obvious ones there are Poveda and Costa are not going to do anything with us again. They're done.
What about Kiko? Yeah. He's back.
I was going to
leave somebody else an easy one.
Jesus Christ. Jay, your turn.
Well, I was going to go Kiko and Costa anyway, so I just don't see a future for either of them. I don't think
you can pick the same. Nobody's judging you, AJ. We're all friends.
Oh yeah, of course. That's why you treat me so well. I just don't see a future at the club for either of them. So just ship those fuckers out. Let them go. Let them get on with a career somewhere else. There's just no point, is there? There's no point keeping players on wages, sitting around, not playing, no intention of playing. They're not.
I'm sure I saw that Costa's on more than 50 grand a week when he comes back.
Probably is.
Fucking hell, that's a lot. Like,
It's just and
I think
that's
when he
stealing a
first
living
met
as a
us,
footballer
people thought he
almost
was
as much
okay.
as Henderson, isn't it? I mean, that is
Oh,
bad.
yeah. That's bad.
Yeah.
Like, what under 23s do we think should go away and get some? Apart from obviously Cresswell, do we think should go away and get some first team football?
I think a lot of that depends on the other signings that we make.
Yeah, I do.
You know, Bate looks really good, and there's a couple of people that are behind him, McCarron and Jenkins, and a couple of others. So I think if they're not going to be in a position where they're going to push Bate out, and then we're going to sign one or two more, maybe, depending on who moves on. It's not likely they're going to get minutes in the first team, and he's being in that lower division again in the under 23s. Is that going to be enough for him? I suspect not.
There's a few that went out on loan this season as well, isn't there? Besides Paveda, like Burgers and that. But
yeah,
I imagine they're no closer to getting in the team, so they'll probably get moved on. I reckon it's kind of you get sent on loan, don't you? You either do it and you come back.
Bowles
and
was
got a chance,
doing it.
or you're
He
out.
was. He got injured, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
got injured though, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
Oh,
doing
he
did.
it for Ibiza, like.
Yeah, I think
It's a low
Banjax's
level,
probably spot on here. I think Joffrey's cemented himself as part of the first team squad based on the levels of performance he's put in consistently for us this
We
season.
need him.
I think he's going to be a first team squad member at the very least this season. I think best of the rest, Carl. Just to answer your question, I think probably these three in the respective positions. Add to that,
He does rate Greenwood though, doesn't he?
He does
He does rate Greenwood. He's talked him up quite a bit.
Yeah, and to be fair, Greenwood, I would probably argue, was probably our best player again, other than Rafa, was our best player against Brentford in that final game. So
Did well.
Yeah, he was very good in some of them games.
I think as well that he's already back in training on his own.
Run that by us again.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I read a rumor that he's already back in training with himself. He's only had a week or two out, and he's already back in training for the new season.
Greenwood.
Greenwood, yeah, which I like. I do
Right.
like that.
Jack Harrison rubbing off on him so with that kind of shit.
That's how they compared him to. I'm not sure they rubbed off on him, but we'll see.
Hey,
Don't think any first teamers should be doing that with the under 23s, Carl.
Another
That's abuse of power.
another one is Somerville and Drama as well. Another two that we can be quite excited about in terms of if we need backup. I would probably again send them both out on loan if they're interested for a season.
I think Somerville's got to go on loan. I think his career is going to stunt at Leeds now because he's just down the pecking order.
If Raf goes though, does he have more of an opportunity?
There you go.
Depends if anyone comes in, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think if Raf goes, we go out and we sign somebody else for the first team slot, don't we?
Right,
it
then,
might not
right
be a winger.
then. Yeah. Last point then before we do go, it takes me on nicely, Gillet. Moz said that she can see 5 more first team signings here, or I don't know. Right, who do we see realistically coming in based on the current rumours, and how many do you reckon we actually need? Carl, seeing as though you're yawning.
I wasn't yawning.
I was just eating oxygen.
Oh, yeah, well, that's what we all do. Out of the players coming in, I don't really know an awful lot about the ones that we've been linked with. There's that lad for Salzburg, the striker. He's 21, but he's already an Austrian international with about 20 odd appearances and a couple of goals already and assists. Now, he didn't light up the world for Salzburg last year, but maybe, I don't know, he could be another fucking Rodrigo, but he's only 21.
Could be another Augustin.
Yeah, but he's 21, so that's the thing that he's got going for him. Like he's still very, very young, so there's time to knock the Rodrigo out of him. And
Junior Adamu.
Is that the lad
That's
from?
him.
That's him, yeah, from
That's
Salzburg, yeah.
Is he Ghanaian? I think he's Ghanaian by I think originally he's
By
Ghanaian
birth.
and
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I'd like to maybe see how we get on with him and maybe watch a few more YouTube clips and see what he's got like. But an Austrian international at 21 with 20 odd caps and a couple of goals and assists, not a bad thing for a striker.
He's Nigerian.
21.
Nigerian.
Nigerian, yeah.
At what point
maybe-
does it become cheaper just to buy the club rather than the players?
We couldn't even afford Red Bull. We couldn't buy Red Bull, couldn't we? So, oh, you bastard.
Yeah, I think maybe try and get a. I think there's a lot of clubs missing a trick if they don't go for Ericsson. Just in my opinion,
Yeah, definitely.
He's going, isn't he? He's going to. He going back to Italy or somewhere.
He can't play in Italy with his heart thing. It's not like playing in Italy.
That's why I said Spain afterwards.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I heard a rumour that Spurs wanted him back. I wouldn't put that past them, to be fair.
Daniel Levy's a prick, so yeah, I wouldn't put it past him either.
He is. Massive prick.
Gilly, who do you want us to see? What position do you want to see strengthened next, if anywhere? And who would you like realistically?
I want somebody up front. And as the transfer window's not formally opened yet, I think it's not too late for us to move for Haaland.
It's only 67 million, let's be honest.
Exactly. And he's a Leeds fan. Let's just give it a go. 400 million it's actually costing them over the lifetime of the contract. I think I read, including wages and bonuses if he does well, and the signing on fee and
I'll lend them 100 mil if they want to chip the rest in.
How does FFP work for them?
Doesn't
it? Don't.
They just trade and they just buy players with oil. That's all they do. Here, we'll give it to you by the barrel, and you can do what you want with it.
I mean, we never really got into the Man City finances, but if you look at Everton and they're coining what £10 million naming rights for one of their training setups from that's Russian money. You know, when there's stuff like that, we're in a position where they've got ways and means. When you had rugby league salary caps and you had Wigan wives working in the club shop so that they could circumvent the salary cap. Yeah, there's ways and means to get around it.
16-hour weeks on 150 grand a year. Just cashing off a few no-web T-shirts. Just to fly through a couple of these questions. Adamu's available for around about 12 million, so not too bad. I mean, if you're going to take a risk on a young kid, that's an opportunity. I mean, 12 million isn't so bad. I mean, Adeyemi would be nice from Salzburg. Couldn't agree more. Great player. Tati, I don't know much about this fella. I keep seeing his name floating about. Tati. Does anybody know much?
I thought he was talking about a potato.
I know, I've heard of him and I've seen his name floating about Twitter and that, but I don't know any. That's as far as it goes with me. And then the other guy that keeps getting mentioned.
Hang on. Is that not Castellanos' first name?
Is it?
But I think it's spelt with a Y. So is that what they mean?
Maybe.
I don't know, mate.
I'll be honest with you, until I went really close and looked at the screen, I thought he was talking about Totti, and I was like, what?
Yeah, his name is Valentin Mariano Jose Castellanos Jimenez, also known by his nickname Tati, but it's Taty.
Oh, fair enough.
Right. So this Castellanos, right? Okay, that sorts that one out. And then the other ones, who's this guy who was on loan in France? The striker, this Arch
for Bordeaux.
Well, Albert, what's his face?
Albert something. Yeah, somebody tell me a little bit about him then, please.
I ain't got a fucking clue, mate. I've never heard of him. Can't tell you fuck all.
Albert Ellis, he scored 9 goals in 20 appearances for Bordeaux this season. Honduran is on loan at French side from Boavista, with Bordeaux having an option to make his move permanent for just 6.4 million. So we could trump them there if we wanted to go for it, because 6.4 million is not really a lot of money.
But you lose them during the African nations.
960 is not a bad record. How old is the lad?
Doesn't say.
26.
26, I think. But also, what about Minamino? Where apparently his agent is whoring him out to 5 clubs, and we're one of them that he's talking to. Like, so what do people think of that?
As soon as other clubs get involved, I don't see us doing the business. We won't match people's wages and salaries. We seem to do the best business when we keep shit quiet, and this hasn't been quiet enough for me. I don't see us signing him.
Actually, we were after him in January,
to be fair,
weren't we?
When I was thinking about him, I was thinking of when he'd played before he came to England. And then somebody on Twitter pointed out the fact that the Southampton fans had put a petition together to not sign him after they had him on loan. I mean, that's a pretty poor indictment of a player, isn't it?
That's harsh.
I just said a minute ago about the Honduran guy. You'd lose him during African Nations. Honduras is not in Africa; it's in fucking America.
Central America.
Yeah. Fucking idiot. None of you pick me up on it, because none of you fucking listen to me.
Yeah, but he plays in France, and a lot of French players have got African heritage. So I'm assuming that's where that came from.
It must be. It must be.
Just assuming, you know.
Fucking hell, lads! I'm flagging here a bit.
I mean, just you know, looking at the players, it's great to look at our squad and just think of the number of internationals that we've got now. And then potential internationals. I know, like from Melier's perspective, I don't think he's got a full cap yet. No. But you know, for me, he's pretty much nailed on to be in the first team squad. Even if there's somebody else that's rivaling him for the number 1 shirt, he's going to be there. But we've got German centre back, Spanish centre centre forward. You know, we've got quality like Tyler Roberts. You know, we're really in this that famous Scottish centre back from Hull. You know, but no, genuine, and then
Dominican left back.
Yeah, but we've got, and you could legitimately pick a first 11 of internationals now, and just imagine that, and thinking that that's the case when we were finishing 15th in the championship, and just how far we've come in such a short time. I mean, that's just
it's such a big step.
And just going back to what
I would just, all of it would be undone. It'd just be such a massive step backwards. We've come so far.
And just going back to the point, I mean, the only point that Moore's ever made that I agree with is that we should be looking forward to next season. That's a fair shout.
I am. At the end of the day, right, look at West Ham. They were in a similar position to where we are now a couple of years back, and now they're flying.
Villa were last season. They stayed up by a technicality of fucking VAR failing.
Yeah. Literal technical failure of the goal line technology, wasn't it?
They didn't have an awesome season. I'd say West Ham had a pretty awesome season, even though where they wanted to be. But there's no reason looking at, we can't take a step forward. We get the right players in, we get them early, we get them all together, we get Jesse working with them, and hopefully he's got something up his sleeve, and we come out fucking raring to go. There's no reason we can't get up there if we get the right signings.
The worst thing for me would be if Jesse believes that he's got a full squad and then that's undone late in the window without him having an opportunity to do something about it. So, you know, if Barca come in with a £120 million bid, you look at what they did with Coutinho. They weren't signing Coutinho. Fucking hell, they paid £147 million for him.
Imagine
they get another
Baraf.
And then sold him for 20, and they're wondering why they've no money.
But they get another $1 billion loan. They can go do that.
Which they probably will, because they seem to just get whatever they want in the long run, don't they?
So it's entirely possible that they'll just be flush with cash late in the transfer window. They won't have been able to do anything else, and they'll come in and they'll just throw loads of money at him, and he'll go. And then Marsh, his season's undone then, because he thinks that he's going into the season with a full squad, and all of a sudden one of his star players has been poached right at the death of the transfer window. That's the worst scenario. Getting the job done early is great. You know, it's very un-Leeds, and it's brilliant for us to be able to see people coming in before the transfer window's even open. It's brilliant. By that same rationale, it'll be very Leeds to then lose one or maybe even two of our star players really late on in the transfer window.
It would. We'd all be rejoicing about how we'd kept him and what a great window it's been. And then we'd have rug pulled out from under us with another don't go to bed just yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Don't go to bed just yet. And a picture of some fish and chips because Rafinha's gone.
No, just
on that.
Yeah, thanks, Wilson.
Just on that sort of period, Matt Smith only turned 33 the other day.
Oh god,
Wow.
that's insane.
But I still remember when Warnock, I think it was Warnock, sent him on to do a job. It was a cup game, and his first touch was a fucking elbow, a red card straight
Yeah.
off.
Oh
Straight
yeah,
off. Yeah, big time.
I remember.
And unrealistically ended up at Millwall after that. I mean, you couldn't write that, could you?
Unreal.
Like, what really surprised me, it came up in conversation the other day, is that Dan Harding's still in his 30s.
Fucking hell. I remember when we signed him and he was meant to be great. And he was shite.
We went through a tribunal with Brighton. We really, really fought for him.
Yeah,
And I think he
we
played
wanted
20
him.
games for us. I
He was
think
shit.
he started the season, played 7 games on the bounce, and then they got really badly injured, played a bit part, and then just got moved on for nothing.
Yeah.
That must mean I'm only about 34, so surely, like,
Yeah,
if
but you
he's,
look
if he's
68.
do I fuck look 68? Fucking hell.
Hey, here's a question for you guys with regards to a potential player. So we're saying that we won't mind getting a keeper. Would you have a punt on Bryce Samba from Forest? Because he's leaving. He's not going to sign.
He bottled the Premier League.
Yeah, he's leaving, Carl, yeah.
He's bottled it.
He's decided he don't fancy a relegation scrap, so he's out.
Wow.
Has he decided he don't fancy relegation scrap, or has he decided that he's not good enough at Premier League and wants to be a big fish in a small pond?
I don't
Who's
know.
his
I'd have him
parent
as
club?
backup keeper.
Is he a Forest player?
Yes, Forest player, yeah. He's just not going to sign
So
him.
he's been there years, hasn't he?
Imagine getting promoted with Forest and then just saying, I don't want to play for you anymore.
It's
Like, what's
bizarre,
that?
isn't it? There's got to be some sort of falling out behind the scenes for that sort of thing to happen.
Well, the other side to it, when's his contract expiring? Does it expire at the end of this season?
I think so.
So if he's a free agent, then there's loads of money to make by signing for somebody else, hasn't he?
Exactly. Even if he stays in Championship, he'll end up getting a nice big
Yeah.
bonus. But
I wouldn't
can
mind
see
him
this
though.
backup
Anyway,
keeper.
back to the point. Back to the point. He wouldn't be a bad second choice keeper now.
He won't. I think he'd be all right. Bit more experience, maybe.
Would he
But
come
then
and
again,
play
what-
second
what-
fiddle?
What happens to would he come and play second fiddle?
Willie what, Carl? Willie what?
Well, you are.
Burnley.
Sorry, yeah, I'm not going to do it.
Surely better to be second fiddle at a Prem club though than fucking.
It could have been
down
first
at
choice at a Prem club, and he's
Yeah,
bottled
but
it.
obviously someone's gone
Yeah.
wrong there, hasn't it? So I don't know. They've got that Garner in midfield as well, haven't they? They had on loan from Scum, or so I think.
Ben
Phil Hayes
Foster.
will be
I'd have
looking at
Ben
it.
Foster as well. I would
No,
have
he's a
Ben
scummer.
Foster.
He's a scummer, and he's that toilet with GoPro, isn't he?
Yeah, I still think he'd be a great sort of type of player for us to have as a backup goalkeeper.
I think
Yeah,
he'd
right
be
type of player, but somebody that's not being a scummer and somebody that's not a wanker on YouTube like us.
alright.
Yeah, did he get done for speeding or something the other day? Like badly as well, like doing 140 or something
I
stupid.
don't know.
Did you?
Did
No,
I
yeah.
tweet him something saying, get that on your fucking GoPro?
Fuck it, I don't know. I didn't see that.
Could have been a lob.
That could have been anything, actually. Get that on your GoPro.
Not on your GoPro, you prick. As you're cycling away from him. Way.
Fucking hell.
But to be fair, when we've played against Watford and that, like when I've been to watch since he's been there and other teams he played for, did he play for West Brom before?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
And other clubs he's played for. He's always had good banter behind the sticks. Like no matter who he's played for, he takes it well. Do you know what I mean? He's always been given a bit of an hard time. Obviously, naturally, if you're playing against Leeds and you're in goal, you're going to get some stick. But
Of course, yeah.
but yeah, I just no shit, bastard. Have you seen? Have you heard other clubs just try and copy this? But there's goes. Your shit.
Yeah.
You
They
go
then
kick.
did another couple of things afterwards, didn't they? Yeah, it was awful. Really bad.
Jesus
Terrible, man.
Christ.
Absolute fucking melts.
Anyway, we're all giddy as fuck for the new season, obviously. So, when do the lads fuck off down under? Do you know when they're back in that? Is that sort of usually about sort of mid to end of June?
No
I-
idea on that one.
Not a clue. I
When
would
are
have
they
thought
back in training?
it'll be late July, won't it? Or mid-July.
Yeah, but it won't be late July, will it? I think
Or mid-July.
they're going all the way to Australia.
Yeah, but they're not going to go in June.
You might be right.
They're
You
on
might
the
be
same
right.
planet, Luke.
They'll be off till
Are they?
July.
They're on the same planet. Like, it's not like we're going off fucking world to play football.
I'm glad they are
No.
because you're fucking not.
Here we go. Right. They play Brisbane Roar on the 14th of July.
There you go.
They then play Villa on the 17th of July. Looks like they've only got 2.
No, they've
Anybody
Palace as well,
going?
don't they?
Like fuck. I'll go to
Anybody
some
going
friendlies
down
over
under?
here though.
They won't let me into Australia.
Oh, no, it does. Yeah, Palace on the 22nd.
So they'll probably be back training from this 1st of July, I'd say. Probably have a couple of weeks training before that first game.
You'd
Before they
think
go
so,
down.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
I've
hope
that
so.
end of that week. Yeah.
I wonder will that running track start to grow grass on it, seeing as they probably won't be using it.
Fucking hell. Don't say that.
Hey, up
I
Brendan's
wonder-
ghost here. Is that his first comment tonight?
No,
Nah,
second one, he said hello earlier.
At least July in Oz is midwinter, yeah. What was I going to say then? That was really, really proper good, but I've forgotten now it was that good.
It must have been proper good, like proper engaging.
Oh mate, it was fucking off the scale. That was really that good. That was it. I think. So we've got those 3. Do you think the club are going to announce, obviously, the usual Farsley Celtic fucking Geisley type
New
stuff
York.
a little bit later? Because
Tends to be a guy.
obviously we didn't know what league we were going to be in and that. But I'm not sure that would have mattered for those sorts of games, would it?
No, I think
wouldn't have
we'd always
expected
do
so.
those traditional ones. Yeah. Where's he going? Oh,
I didn't mean to do that. I meant to mute myself.
I'm dizzy here. What's going on? Oh,
Celebrity Squares.
Right, is anybody anything else to say before we crack on? Before we fuck off?
No else to
I'm
add,
done,
lads.
mate. I'm done. Let's get off.
I've had enough of you lot. Thanks everybody for joining us as always. We'll put something out. We'll decide what we're doing with this Click signed shirt over the next week or so. And we'll
it's
try
real.
We can try and get something. Carl's had it in his loft for the last fucking 6 months, deciding what he was going to do with it because we didn't know whether we were obviously staying in the league or whatever. So we just decided just to put things on hold until we secured staying in the league, and then we'll have a chat, see what we're going to do with that. Gilly's going to put together a new video and some other bits and bobs, so stay tuned. We've got plenty of bits going on. Jay's going to do a video as well from 6 months ago, a bit of a montage of the season that he's promised to do. So keep your eyes peeled for that. If that happens, I will literally eat a pair of his boxer shorts because that won't happen.
Send me your address,
Literally.
mate.
You heard that, literally.
Holding you to that.
Send me your address. I'll send them over unwashed.
I don't see no Stuart Dallas tattoo lads here, do you? Come on.
Yeah. Absolute wuss.
Thanks everybody for joining. I'll see you again soon. We'll probably do this every 2 or 3 weeks, and we'll catch up with you all and just sort of keep our heads above water, so to speak. But yeah,